What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We're going to talk about the Sobek today. I finally finished working on this one. I was actually in the process of remodding it before the new Acids Shells mod came out from this Operation Rathoon. And so I kind of fit that in there, took a little bit of time this weekend, tried to go over it. And I played this thing in so many different ways to try to figure out what I like best and what turns out to work best in the use of this weapon. So that's what we're going to discuss here today. This is not going to be like a 2-minute video. I'm sorry. I like to go into full detail so you can fully understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. That's just the way I am. So, of course, the Sobek is a older gun, but it is a mastery level 4, so you'd have to be mastery level 4 to pick this weapon up. It's a Grenier shotgun. It's got a lower than average fire rate compared to, like, say, the bore, but the damage per shot is higher, and it's got a nice large magazine capacity at 20. But if you use, say, an ammo stock, you can bring that magazine capacity up to 32, and that's the way I used to run it a long time ago. Things have changed. Things have changed. Now, it does deal impact damage. I like impact damage. I know it's not the norm for everybody. Most people think it's the weakest. I like the knockback of the impact damage. I like that knockback, which staggers the enemies and stops them from actually being able to fire at you. So if you're in a really heavy, crowded situation, you choose the enemies to knock back. Let's say you know you're not going to be able to kill them all. Go for the heavy guys, the big guys, and knock them back, stop them from shooting at you, and control the situation. And that's what's key with this, especially with the new mod that we'll talk about here as well in a minute. Is key is controlling your situation and controlling and determining which enemies you're going to actually shoot for first. Real important in this case, okay? But it's a really good weapon. So it's got a good high base damage. It is fully automatic. I suggest you keep your hands on the trigger button and kind of manually shoot it yourself if you can. Kind of more burst fiery, so you can control the ammo efficiency of this. It does have damage fall off, but it's not bad at all. And the way I've got it set up, the damage, you probably do more of a medium. I'm doing short to medium range with this weapon, so it's nothing that's crazy long, but this thing is very effective as it is. Okay, so with that, let's talk a little bit more about where it stands in terms of the first off, we've got the new acid shells mod. Okay, this is kind of a weird mod, the way it reads, if you will. So at max rank, you're going to do a flat 450 corrosive damage, okay, it's going to deal that damage, 450 damage. And then it's also going to deal a 45% of the enemy's max health as well, and up to 15-meter radius. Now, currently I'm feeling like it's bugged because that 15-meter radius, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So as of me doing this video, it feels like it's a bug, and I've been doing some reading that it is bugged. The range seems to be bugged. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if everything is working right, you're going to do a flat damage of 450 corrosive plus 45% of the enemy's max health. So you're going to pick and choose these enemies, okay? You have to pick and choose the enemies to do the best of damage with this acid shell. So obviously, the biggest, baddest guys that are out there are the ones you're going to want to take down, because they will control the crowds. Okay, so these guys have the biggest amount of health. 45% of that health is spread out in the explosion, in terms of, you know, the corrosive that it does for damage, and that's going to take out the crowds that are around it, the smaller guys. Obviously, you want to take out the healers, the healing Eximuses first, so that way you can really quickly break down anything else that's around in the area. So that's how this is going to work. Now, thinking of it that way, we want to also consider what our best element mods are going to be. And in that case, your best elements with this, actually, you could use corrosive or you could use viral. Those are going to end up being your best two. Corrosive is just going to help you out even more because this mod doesn't seem to do any proccing. It just does flat out damage from what I've been able to see. So if, let's say, you put corrosive on, you're able to do your corrosive procs and get all that rolling first before you kill an enemy and explodes this extra damage. That kind of helps you out in that situation. But I'll show you. I've actually been using viral the best for me so far, and it just works the way that it's set up. But now we've got that. So we've got your acid shells. Then you've also got your shattering justice, if I can say it right. Your shattering justice is your augment mod, your syndicate augment mod, if you will, which at max rank is going to give you a plus 20 base status chance and a plus 1 justice. The status on this weapon is really good, so this just helps that out. And of course, when you're proccing, you know, your viral and or your impact, or you know, whatever you're proccing, it's a nice thing to have here. Your corrosive, if you're proccing on the corrosive, and then you've got your justice, which your justice will deal blast damage, 1,000 blast damage, and it also does a 25% maximum health restore, and it'll temporarily increase your maximum armor by 25% of your base armor on the Warframe that you're using. So there's a lot of good with this one, mixed with that acid shells. And the way this weapon works, this Shattering Justice pops off so often, it's unbelievable. Usually, around the time you're getting ready to reload, this thing is shooting off the Justice and kind of helps control the crowd. So there is that involved. Now, there's a few other things going on with this weapon, so we'll just go ahead and get over to showing you what my setup looks like while I discuss the rest of this. So in terms of the rest of this setup, so what you're looking at here, we've got decent status chances, 81%, impacts at 1800, puncture slash 300, and viral, which is what I've been using, at almost 3000. Okay, and then also keep in mind we have our acid shells, which gives us corrosive. Okay, so there's a few things going on here. There's a few different ways you could play it too, but I'm using prime point blank. It's at a level 8. Okay, I just haven't been able to fully max it up yet. So prime point blank for me is going to give me 135% additional damage. Then we're going to also have our Hell's Chamber, which max rank gives you 120% multi-shot. Okay. Then I'm going to actually use the Vicious Spread on this weapon. Okay, and that's what takes it from being a longer range weapon to a short to medium range, but that's okay. I'm getting a plus 90% base damage, even though I'm getting a plus 60% spread, but it's okay. It works out just fine with this weapon the way it is. You could add things like Blaze to your setup if you wanted to, and I had Blaze on here for a while too for heat damage. Heat with the corrosive to try that out that way, but this is ultimately where I end up at. Then of course I'm using Shattering Justice, and this is at the top here. Then I'm going with Frigid Blast and Toxic Barrage. Now these are your dual elements here, so your dual status, so it's your status chance and your element combo, which gives me that viral, acid shells, and Seeking Fury. Now the Seeking Fury is there for the purpose of not so much breaking down your reload, because your reload goes from 4 seconds to 3.5 seconds. It's not a huge difference, but it will make a difference. But we're focused on getting the punch through at a less cost than the full maxed out punch through, which is like a 15 max rank instead of 11. So we can get a 1.2 punch through with this Seeking Fury, which gives us the chance at the right opportunities to take out anywhere from 1 to 2 enemies at a time. We can punch through 1 to 2 enemies at a time, so that works out in our favor, if you will. Now, like I said, I'm using the viral, and the viral damage, the status of this, which actually reduces the target's current maximum health to 50% for up to 6 seconds, and the status effect is virus, which actually takes away the target's health a little bit, okay? And that happens before the viral proc happens. Now, the way viral works is it doesn't like reproc itself in terms of taking away damage over and over and over. What it does in terms of multiple procs is it will actually refresh the timer that is on it. So this is a 6-second timer. By hitting them multiple times, it keeps that half-life on there, if you will. So it allows you to get through things a little bit quicker, if that's of any sense to you. So I mean, we're essentially taking 50% of the health, and that is taken away for 6 seconds. If you haven't killed the enemy by then, it actually goes back up to full health. But the more you hit it, the longer that time stays on there, the reset, if you will, the refresh of the time at the half health, so it allows you to kill them faster. So we take viral damage on the health, we take your corrosive from the acid shells, which obviously corrosive is against shields, okay, armor, if you will, shields, armor, depending upon what it is, and so that's taking away from that. We've got our impact damage for stagger, which works out really well if you're not able to get an enemy down, but fairly quickly you're getting enemy down in tier 3s and tier 4s real easy with this setup. And that's basically it. I mean, that's how it works. That's just making it the best that I can possibly make out of this. Obviously you have some downfalls to it, but for the most part everything here is a positive, it's a plus, it works smooth and perfectly. You can just run into tier 3s and tier 4s like it's nothing. If you have comments or questions, please do feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.